Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be touching base here on American Airlines stock. Now this is one that we have talked about a lot of times in the past, but as you can see there is a new breakout happening on the chart. They have been above our price target of $22 here over the last week and a half, but I wanted to make sure that they were going to hold above this target. Now as I told you guys in my previous video, $22 looked like a strong level where they might have some resistance. But as you can see, the stock has broken through there, and not only that, they have validated on the 200 moving average. Now, as you guys know here on the channel, we trade with this blue line, and this bluish green line is going to be showing us the long-term direction of a company. And as you can see, American Airlines has very well tested this line around 3 or 4 times on its way up from this breakout that we identified. Now, if you weren't able to trade that breakout, you're probably wondering, where should I hop in on this stock? What price should I be watching? And essentially, what am I going to be doing over the next few days? So I want to touch base on a few bigger picture ideas here with American Airlines. I want to show you why there is actually a breakout happening on the chart and why there is so much strength on a stock that really didn't seem to be doing much just only a few months ago. Now, like I said, American Airlines has been trading extremely strongly here over the last few days, but it's really happening as a result of a bigger picture idea here. And in order to see that idea, I want to switch from the 1 hour chart to the 1 day. So essentially what the difference is going to be is that on the 1 hour chart, all the candles are equal to 1 hour, and we're seeing 1 hour of time with every candle. But on the 1 day chart, all the candles are 1 day. So effectively, there are going to be less candles on the chart, and we're going to be able to see less precise data, but we can see some greater overall trends. And with American Airlines, this is going to allow us to see this overall trend that has been building for an extremely long time. You can see that back in around 2018, 2017, American Airlines was setting up a very clear pattern here, a descending pattern where they were consistently coming down and down and down. You can see that happening right here where all these tops were reaching to this line, and it was very obvious that American Airlines had some sort of resistance coming at that price. And you can see that recently, when we did have this massive breakout a couple of weeks ago, American Airlines actually retraced back below this line when they did have a breakout. So if we would have come above this line, potentially held above and then come broken out, then that would have shown us that this long-term pattern of selling off has been broken. But as you can see, American Airlines is now above this line, and that is really giving me a sign that we are back in an upwards direction. But right now I want to show you why that might not be such a great sign, because if we are coming out of this great pattern of consolidation, then I think that it might be easy to think, or it might be the best to think, that we are coming into another pattern of consolidation. So I want to show you exactly what I personally think American Airlines is going to be doing over the next few days, what you should watch, and essentially what I'm going to be trading. Now, zooming back into the 1 hour chart here, you can see that the line that we drew on the daily chart is very much relevant here in a shorter time frame. So that's essentially why we go on that bigger picture frame, because it allows us to see some longer term patterns that might not only help boost these shorter term patterns, but ultimately show us that the stock might be changing the direction that it's been having for a very long time. And that's why I'm really bullish on American Airlines here. You can see that almost perfectly. The stock was having trouble breaking out at the resistance price we talked about, 22, came back down, and then the second time ripped above. But now we're getting a retest back on this level, and instead of it being a resistance level, it's now retesting as a support. So you can see how almost perfectly this line is matching up with the price action on American Airlines. And that's why we need to be very wary of what's happening in the overall context of a stock and not just what's happened in the last few weeks. But like I said, there are some warning signs that we need to watch with American Airlines, because if they just left a period of consolidation, then it would make a lot of sense for the stock to enter another period of consolidation. So right now I want to show you essentially what I think is going to happen. Now, I was right the last time when I did say that American Airlines had some room to grow. So at least hear me out with this reasoning about American Airlines, because it could help you trade better in the future. Alright guys, so essentially this is what I think will be happening with American Airlines stock, and the reason that I say at least hear me out is because a lot of people don't really realize that when stocks are in a bullish context, there are potential to sell off, and there is a lot of potential to sell off, especially with a speculative name like American Airlines, where there still isn't a lot of recovery and the stock is massively pumping. So as always guys, we need to have a scenario where the stock sells off in mind, and that's going to help us as traders identify when we should stay in, stay out on a stock, and what we should do in the long term. But with American Airlines, you can see that there is another channel forming here, and really this stock has been consistently bouncing between these two lines for the last few months, but recently they've made a really long uptrend here, and you can see that they reached their max at around $26. So I think again that is really no coincidence that this stock saw some resistance at 26, and I think that what's going to be happening over the next few days is a continuation here sideways between the 25, 26 all the way down to 22 level, similar to what we saw on Carnival. So let me just pull up Carnival so you guys can see what happened with that stock. But that's why I think that they are going to be copying this movement, because a lot of these stocks are in a similar industry, and you can see that with Carnival they did reach the top of their pattern, but they had this same choppy motion back and forth and are now looking to break out. So I think that that might be a great sign for this stock, and that's something that I want to watch in the future, talking about American Airlines, because it could represent basically what's going to happen with this stock as well, as they are in a similar industry, which is the travel industry. So as always guys, a lot of these stocks move together, and a lot of the time we can see something happening in another stock before it happens with our stock that we're watching. And in this case, American Airlines is probably going to be copying the pattern that a lot of those other travel stocks are making. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did bounce down to 22, like I'm saying, back on this 200 EMA to retest, and then came back up all the way to 25 again before maybe breaking out or ultimately selling back down to the bottom side of this channel. So that's going to be the worst case scenario that you need to be aware of if you are trading American Airlines. But ultimately, this worst case scenario could be our best case scenario, because it allows us to pick it up at a lower price. And if you guys know me, I love to buy stocks at a minimum price. And right now, this minimum price is looking like it's right around the $22 mark. So as always, guys, if you can pick this stock up around $22 a share, that is probably going to be in your best interest and in your best favor. But as always, if you enjoyed the video or if you learned something new, like I said in the past, make sure you subscribe down below, because I'll have new videos coming every single day. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope all your plays are in the green.